Today, we're going to be talking about making end-of-life decisions. Very serious subject, and it doesn't matter whether somebody's in good health or they've got a terminal illness and a short time to live. The decision-making process is the same, and it's recommended to help your heirs that you plan for your own death in advance with all the things that you are considering, rather than just leaving it as a big mess to your beneficiaries. So some of the things you need to do before death is create a last will and testament and decide what you want to do with your property. And if you have less than 166,000 of assets, a will might work by itself. If you have more than that, you probably want a trust. And a will is the only place you can identify caregivers or custodians for your minor children. Next thing is to create an Advanced Healthcare Directive, indicating another person to take over if you become unable to communicate. And also, it should have a HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability Act, release for the doctors. You need to create a durable power of attorney for asset management. If you, for example, have Alzheimer's and can't communicate, you need to have someone else to manage your assets that are not owned within your living trust. Establish a living trust, move property and title in your living trust, make all of your issues, questions about where property is going to go, and indicate that all in your trust, because that's usually the operative document. Update what you're doing with your beneficiaries so they know. If you have digital assets, which most people do, including email, websites, storage online, make it easy for your followers to be able to get access to that. Make final funeral arrangements, including whether you want to be cremated, purchasing a burial plot, what type of funeral you would like. If you want your ashes scattered at sea or whatever your wishes are, and include your religious belief in that process. Make copies of your documents, and it's important that the person who's going to take over for you during your after your death, that they have documents too, that they're not all locked up in a safe deposit box. And then as time goes on, keep everything current. You might want to consider, do you have emotional letters to write? Are there people you need to make peace with before you pass on? Another good idea is to make a bucket list of things you want to accomplish before you pass. Make a list of personal belongings, where everything is going to go, and real property. Decide where photos, memories of videos and things of that nature are going to go. Where's your password list to online access? Are there things that you need to sell before you pass? What about care for pets? You're going to leave money for some pets to be cared for by someone. In some cases, people will establish a pet trust. What unfinished projects do you have that need to be wrapped up before you pass? So if you're declining in health, you want to, which will happen to everyone, who do you want present? What kind of care? There's a thing called palliative care. You need to give permission to doctors to give you pain medication, even if it hastens your death. Most people want that. Do you want to have a do not resuscitate order, so medical emergency personnel know what to do? And the Do not resuscitate order is separate from another document called a pulse. That you have to work with your doctor to get physician's order on life-sustaining treatment. Do you want to keep on a feeding tube if you're in a comatose state? What type of situation would it be if you're not going to recover? Some people go in comatose and then they're just fine 3 weeks later. So you want to make sure that it's planned out well. How do you want your body taken care of? Casket preferences. You want to write your own obituary? Have you purchased a burial plot, a headstone? Do you want some kind of ceremony? And who's going to deliver your eulogy? And the more that you can plan out before you pass will diminish the burden of your beneficiaries after you're gone. And that, I feel, is a good idea. But a comprehensive estate plan should be in place, because the end of life decisions, when you can't communicate anymore, let's say you're mentally incapacitated or you pass, everything has to be done what's written. If it's not written, it frequently doesn't happen. And there's some doubt whether you really said something verbally. And the only way you can really make sure with a high degree of probability that your end of life and post-life decisions are taken care of is if it's clearly written down so that your successors can follow that decision and directive that you have written out with all these documents. If you have any additional questions, please contact our office.